I recently sailed on one of Carnival's newest and biggest cruise ships, Carnival Celebration. This ship had a lot to offer, but no ship is perfect for every cruiser. In this video, I share the hits, misses, and who I think this cruise ship is for. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. We recently went on a cruise on board Carnival Celebration, an XL class cruise ship at over 183,000 tons. Now, I did a lot of research before this cruise and I had read some good and some not so good reviews, but still there were some things that I truly never expected. In this review, we'll go over the food and dining, the onboard attractions and entertainment, the cabins, the public areas, and the ship design, as well as the crew and service. And along with some of the pros and cons, I will also share some tips and tricks that you could use along the way. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. So here are some of the things that I really loved about the Carnival Celebration. And keep in mind, this is going to be subjective. Firstly, the food and the dining in terms of how much variety and choice there is on this cruise ship. Now, in particular, the casual dining, I don't think that I have seen on any other cruise ship this much choice, and truthfully, it was a very good quality. Now, the things that I am talking about is Blue Iguana. This was so good. Oftentimes we would eat breakfast here at Blue Iguana. We would have like a Mexican egg wrap. I had lunch there on a couple of occasions. I would have the shrimp burrito. It was so delicious. Now, in addition to that, of course, there is Guy's Burger Joint. I know everybody loves that, and I'm not a huge burger fan, but this was really good, and the French fries were excellent. Now, the best part about the casual dining is how much was included. So this included big chicken, also a really good choice, and a little bit of a tip. On embarkation day, skip the buffet and head out to Big Chicken instead. You also have the Pig and Anchor Smokehouse, which Frank and Ethan tried on one of the sea days. They really loved it. Miami Slice, of course, the pizza, and the Carnival Deli was a pretty big hit as well. Now, something else that we liked was the Sea Day brunch, and I have to say, I'll talk about the buffet a little bit later, but we really didn't go to the buffet much because there were so many other dining options. Evening dining, I have to say we ate very well on this cruise ship, but we started off on embarkation day evening, so the first night of our cruise, we went to Fahrenheit 555. That is a specialty restaurant that does cost extra. So we went there, had fabulous steak, really enjoyed this. And one of the reasons we went there on the first night of the cruise is because Carnival does have a promotion where they do give you a free bottle of white or red wine if you do go the first night. So we did take advantage of that. And I have to say, the meal, the dessert, and the service was excellent. Now, we prefer to sit down for our evening dinners. So we ate in Festival, a main dining room venue, 4 out of 7 nights. The menus and the food options were really good. In fact, on our first formal night, we had a delicious filet mignon. And other evenings, we had beef brisket, we had prime rib, and a lobster tail. Now, while I admit the lobster tail wasn't the best that I ever had, it was really nice to see this included on the menu, and I could see that a lot of the other passengers enjoyed it. Now, a couple of my favorites were the beef Wellington, and the desserts were absolutely delicious, including the creme caramel and Carnival's chocolate melting cake. Now, a little tip, along with your vanilla ice cream on the side, ask for a little bit of peanut butter. This makes it taste like a frozen Reese's dessert. Now, something that really did impress me about the food in the main dining room on Carnival is the fact that they do have separate, really nice vegan and gluten-free menus. So anybody who is gluten-free or vegan can actually order off that menu rather than making special requests the day before. And if you take a look at the menu that I'm going to put up on screen right now, and you see items that look like these are not really vegan, these are actually plant-based versions of these dishes. Casual sit-down dining, that is included. Now, on Carnival's XL class ships, you have 2 casual dining venues, Cucina del Capitano and Chibang. Now, a one-time visit is included in both of these restaurants. If you decide that you want to go another time after that, it is $8 per person. Now, Jabang was a really fun experience. It's a combination of Mexican as well as Asian cuisine. It's definitely casual, but the food was overall really tasty, and in particular, I do recommend the sweet and sour shrimp. Cucina del Capitano. I loved the atmosphere of this restaurant. It really felt like a rustic dining room. It was very enjoyable. Now, in terms of the menu, there was a really nice choice. However, when it did come to the main dish, we ordered chicken parmesan. And while it was tasty, it wasn't my absolute favorite. So maybe if I went again, I would try something different. If you've gone to this restaurant before, please let me know any of your suggestions down in the comments below. Room service. Now, if you ever watch my cruise videos, you'll know that I am a fan of room service on a cruise, especially when it comes to breakfast. So Carnival does have free continental room service breakfast. We would order this by phone every night before we went to bed so that the next morning it would be delivered. And usually it was just something very simple like some fruit and some pastries and a pot of coffee, but that was absolutely perfect to have on our Havana balcony. Emerald's Bistro. Now, while I was trying to do this cruise a little bit more budget-minded, so we didn't pay for a lot of the different specialty venues, we were told we absolutely had to have some beignets at Emerald's Bistro at only $5 for a portion of these. Oh my goodness, these were absolutely delicious and so worth every calorie. Now, overall, we loved the food on Carnival Celebration, but there was one dining venue that was a miss for us, but I will share that with you later on in the video. The variety of bars. So if you have a drink package on Carnival Celebration, you're going to be very happy. Many different bars, menus, and the decor is just fabulous. Now, this includes the retro-inspired Golden Jubilee, which is celebrating Carnival's 50th anniversary. When you step inside this bar, it feels like you've stepped inside a time machine and you've moved 50 years backwards. Another highlight is Latitudes, which really captures the vibe of an upscale travel lounge. And the Red Frog Tiki Bar is one of my favorite bars on board Carnival Celebration. Located on the Lido deck, Red Frog is a two-story themed bar that has a Margaritaville type vibe to it. Now, you'll also find the Heroes Bar, which is dedicated to honoring military service members, and the Alchemy Bar, which is one of my favorite bars at sea. All right, moving on to another big hit on board Carnival Celebration is the entertainment. There truly was something for everyone, and the quality was excellent. So you had shows in center stage. That was one of my favorite places to watch a show on most evenings. Really, the entertainment was so good with quality productions, acrobats, singing, and even getting the audience involved. Now, I am a huge comedy fan, so it was really fun to be able to watch comedians in the Punchliner Comedy Club. Family Feud. Now, this is not to miss Carnival entertainment. We laughed so much and had such a great time at this show in the theater. And something that I also really liked on board Carnival Celebration was just the fact that there was karaoke, there was dancing, there was live music in different venues, and this seemed to be going on in different areas of the ship, and it really felt like there was something for everyone. Onboard attractions and activities. Now, this is a really big cruise ship, but Carnival Celebration really did use that space well, in particular when it comes to the top deck. Now, not only do you have the main pool area, and I will talk more about the pools because there's another one that I really did enjoy. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But first, I did want to talk about the onboard attractions that I guess are a little bit family orientated, if you will, or activity-based at least. Now, you do have mini golf, which is included. So this is something really nice, and it's a pretty nice course. You do have a great splash park for the kiddos, and you have, of course, Bolt, the sea coaster. And this is the first roller coaster at sea. I wasn't sure what it would be like to see this in person, and even if you're at the main pool, if the noise of this would be bothersome. But no, it is not. And honestly, this is really fun. I wasn't sure if I would do it. I'm a little bit scared of heights. I'm a little bit scared of anything risky. And while I don't know if I'll do it again, I am glad that I did it at least one time. The cost of the Bolt is $15, and I do suggest that you sign up on the app as soon as you board your cruise. Now, in addition to those outdoor activities, there were also activities that were happening indoors, from dance classes to trivia to a Build-A-Bear workshop. Now, that did have an additional cost. The beautiful pool areas and sun decks. Now, you do have the main pool, and that's definitely the activity pool. That is where everything is sort of happening. So if you like that very busy vibe, that fun, entertaining pool, you will enjoy that. But if you're looking for a place that's much quieter, I was very impressed with the Serenity pool, both with the pool itself that was quite nice, as well as the surrounding areas and the lounge chairs. In fact, at the Serenity pool, they often set up a little salad buffet for lunch, so that was a little bit of a bonus as well. Now, the Serenity pool area also had some hot tubs, so this was nice as well. And for people that were in a suite, or for anybody that had access, you did have the Cloud 9 sun deck. That had some cabanas, that had some really nice seating, and a very beautiful infinity style hot tub. The upper deck seating. So this was something that I also really liked on this Carnival cruise ship. I felt like that they did really leave space for people, because there was this stadium type seating. So you could have these lounge chairs on the upper deck as well. And there was a lot of seating even as you made your way towards the mini golf, so you could sit at different spaces all on the upper deck, even if it wasn't super close to the pool. The huge casino. Now, I am not a casino player, but even I enjoyed walking through the casino and soaking in that atmosphere. It was definitely, I think, a casino player's dream. So if that is something that you like, I think you will enjoy this. The cabins. Now, on Carnival Celebration, there are a variety of cabins and cabin types, but we opted for a Havana balcony cabin. Now, truthfully, I wasn't sure what to expect from this cabin, but I decided to book it because I did think that being able to have a separate space in the Havana area, if it did get busy around the rest of the cruise ship, that it would give us our own private space. Now, I do have a video all about that in detail, so I'll leave it at the end of this video, but I will show you around the cabin a little bit. Now, there was a lot of space. It was a Cuban theme. Honestly, I probably would have preferred the color scheme of the regular Carnival Celebration cabins, because I do prefer a blue and green color scheme. But nevertheless, I really did enjoy this cabin. And spoiler alert, this was a surprise win for me. I found myself using that swing and sitting out in the shaded areas. It was very quiet in the morning time. I think I probably used this balcony more than I have regular balconies on other cruise ships. The friendly crew. Now, I have to tell you, one of the things that impressed me so much on board Carnival Celebration is how attentive and helpful the crew is. I really did find that they went the extra mile, even though oftentimes they were working so hard, but it seemed like they really did want to try to make sure that everybody had the absolute best vacation. Now, in particular, something that was really interesting to me was there was somebody who was, I guess, a magician, and he would come around to some of the different tables in the main dining room, in some of these specialty restaurants even. He'd interact with the guests, do a little card trick or another little trick, and it was really a nice special touch. He really did entertain not only us, but families with children. It was really a delight. All right, so now let's talk about some of the misses, or some of the areas that I think that Carnival Celebration could improve. And keep in mind, this is all very subjective, and then I will let you know who I think this cruise ship is for. These slow and small elevators. Now, I'm not typically somebody who complains a lot about elevators, but these seem to be a little bit more compact than I've seen on other large cruise ships. Now, in fairness, the good thing about this was I did walk the stairs a lot more, which I think, given how much I loved the food, was probably a good thing. Street eats. Now, I really expected to love street eats, but there were a couple of reasons that we just didn't. Now, what is street eats? Well, right at the pool area, there are some restaurants. They're almost like a food truck style concept. Now, the thing was that when it came to street eats, there was one, I think it was called Crab Shack, that was open a lot, but there was an extra cost for this and for seafood. Now, a lot of people seem to enjoy it, so nothing against that. But the ones that were included, they just were not open very much. In fact, we had to look at our Hub app just to find when it might be open for about 2 hours a day. Now, finally, on our last sea day, we did get a chance to try it. We had sort of dumplings They were actually very tasty, so this is definitely something enjoyable, but it just seems a little bit of wasted space, as you would think that this would be open more, especially as it's right next to the pool. And on a side note, when it comes to Big Chicken, the lunch is really excellent, those chicken sandwiches. But we did try that once for breakfast, the breakfast egg sandwiches, and I would say that that is probably a miss. The crowds. Now it has to be said, of course, we are on a big family style cruise ship, so we have to expect that there are a lot of people. However, on our cruise ship, we had 5,700 passengers, and we were told it goes up typically to about 6,400 passengers at busier sailings. Now, when it came to crowds, you could really feel that at the main pool area. You could also feel this in the center stage area when there was a popular show, of course, and as well at some of the casual food venues like Slice, where there was often a long lineup for pizza. The seating for shows. Now, speaking of the crowds, this was something that we saw in particular at the center stage area. Now, this is a great venue to see shows, but because it is so popular and the quality of shows is really good, you'll want to show up a good 45 minutes early for any of the popular shows. I can see that there are times where there's even conflict between different passengers just because there are so many people waiting that people do get mad when they have people that are standing in front of them. So I think you'll probably want to avoid this by heading there early. The very small bathroom in our cabin. Now, our cabin was a really good size, but I have to say, when it came to our bathroom, it was one of the smallest bathrooms that I've seen for a balcony cabin. Now, on the bright side, it did have a shower with glass doors, so this was a plus. Now, I have one more miss or something that I think that Carnival could improve upon, and then I'm going to share with you who I think this cruise ship is for. The boarding process. Now, I almost didn't share this, but I really wanted to be truthful because while it really didn't impact our cruise itself, I think there are more relaxing ways to actually board a cruise, even though I do understand the reason that Carnival is doing this. So when we boarded our cruise in the port of Miami, the security process was less than relaxing. Now, we did have sniffer dogs that actually lined all the passengers up and, they sniffed all of our luggage and, handbags and that sort of thing. When we went through the x-ray machine, we had to open our bags, show them the wine. And again, I do understand why they're doing it, but it just made it a little bit less relaxing than when we boarded other cruise ships. So who was sailing with us on our cruise ship, and who do I think this cruise ship is for? So firstly, the people on our cruise ship were absolutely lovely. There were a lot of families and a lot of groups. In fact, even though we cruised just before Thanksgiving, I was surprised at how many children and teens were still on board, although of course not as many as you would find during the holidays. Now, there were a lot of groups on board, and I definitely think that this is a great cruise ship for groups. I think this cruise ship is also great for anybody who likes a lot of activity and a lot of things to do. This cruise ship is also an amazing value. Truthfully, it was one of our most affordable cruises, and we had an absolutely wonderful time. And when I think about all that we got in terms of what was included on this cruise, this was an absolutely phenomenal value and one that I could recommend to others. Now, that being said, there are some people that this cruise ship would not be for. In fact, I did meet somebody on the cruise ship who told me they were not enjoying their cruise. They thought it was just too noisy for them, and they were thinking that maybe for a future cruise they would choose a different cruise line, and that just shows that there really is something for everyone. Now, I will leave that video about our Havana balcony cabin right after this one, as well as a playlist of Carnival cruise tips, including the Carnival cruise mistakes that you do not want to make. Now, I would love to hear from you. Please let me know if you are going to be sailing on Carnival Celebration, or if you've sailed on this cruise ship before. Please let me know the things that you liked best, or at least down in the comments below. Now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.